To the broadcast booth we go. Ben Schulman is with Caleb Joseph.
Jamie, it's no secret the Blue Jays have a tough task tonight. Try and shut down the best team and one of the best lineups in all of Major League Baseball in the Atlanta Braves. But one positive, they have the right guy on the mound. It's Kevin Gausman, Caleb, who's been even better than usual recently. What's been the key to that?
Well, to me, it's been the fastball and how he's located that and the extra velocity at times that he has had. When he scattered some hits, he's been able to reach back for 96, 97, and that lets these pitches you're seeing right here play up. The split, the slider. As the warmer months start to come around, Kevin told me he starts to feel even better and better, and if he's going to have that 95, 96, he's going to do some damage, especially with split fingers in the zone like that, and he's going to need it against Ronald Acuna Jr. Look at these numbers. Homers in 4 straight games, 5 total homers in those games. He is an MVP. He is a silver slugger. He does a lot of things right for the Atlanta Braves. He is on an absolute tear. Power to all fields. Very difficult to pitch to. There might be a spot up middle with velocity. You could get to him, but you've got to tread carefully and cross your fingers because he is lethal right now for the Braves. See if Gausman can come out, have a good fastball today, let that split play underneath, and hold the Atlanta Braves down.
Good news for Gausman, maybe. Good news, Ronald Acuna Jr. has never seen him, Jamie. They'll face off in the first.
That they will. Here's a look at the probables for this series. Tonight on Sportsnet 1, Gausman against Elder. Tomorrow night on Sportsnet, Patrick Corbin against Grant Holmes. And then Thursday, we know Chris Sale will go for Atlanta. We don't know who will start it for Toronto. As we welcome back Kevin Pillar, and you'll see the number 4 emblazoned on the uniforms of the players. It is Lou Gehrig Day in baseball. And with that, I'd like to say hi to 2 friends who are dealing with this awful disease, Peter Wood in Toronto and Monty Poirier in Fir Mountain, Saskatchewan. I know you were watching the Baltimore series at home Friday and Saturday specifically. They sent you some mixed messages, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm still confused as everyone else. You know, in a 48-hour span, I think they went from the biggest win of the year to the worst loss of the year. And I'm still just trying to figure out. They were coming in Friday's game 3 in a row, then they're able to come back from 5-0 in the 7th inning. Charles McAdoo, the next man up mentality, big swing right there to get the momentum going. And then this is the signature swing that we've been waiting for. Blue Jay fans have been waiting for all year. Vladdy comes up with a big 2 RBI double right there, 4 games in a row. We think the train's moving in the right direction. They get to the 9th inning with a 4-run lead, and they have Jeff Hoffman come in the game, we've been very critical of, and I think all Blue Jay fans have been very critical of, but he had been throwing the ball really well. And then for them to blow a 4-run lead in the 9th inning right there was the worst loss of the season. And then Sunday was just an effect, carryover from Saturday. They also played 17 games in a row. Yes. I think the baseball gods threw them a little bit of a gift. They finally got an off day after 17 days, got a day to rest in Atlanta, and now they're playing the best team in baseball. I think right now we are going to figure out who this Toronto Blue Jays team is going up against the best team in baseball. They have a legitimate offense, one of the best offenses in baseball. They have one of the best starting staffs in baseball, and they also have one of the best bullpens in baseball. Mm-hmm. It's time to figure out who this 2026 Blue Jay team is.
And we know that this team will look a little different in, say, the next 2 to 4 weeks. So for that story, let's take you back to Atlanta, where Arden Zwelling is with Ben Nicholson-Smith.
Well, Ben, music to the ears of everyone involved with the Blue Jays. Alejandro Kirk is going to be getting into rehab games later this week. He's going to start by DHing, then he's going to start catching from there. He's going to be a while off, but it seems like this long 2 months without Kirk is nearing a conclusion.
Yeah, it's just such a big absence for this team, obviously, as well as Brandon Valenzuela has covered, and of course Tyler Heineman at times. They need Alejandro Kirk. He's such a difference maker. So Wednesday, he starts DHing, and then from there he'll build up, start catching more. He's going to need at least 20 at-bats, according to John Schneider. So give or take a week, if you're thinking about 3 per day, probably mixing in a few off days there. So it's not like he's on the brink of returning today or tomorrow, but it's possible that on this upcoming homestand, when the Blue Jays play 3 teams at Rogers Center, by the end of that, when they have the Yankees coming into town, it's in question, it's in play for Alejandro Kirk to be back, and that would be massive, as well as creating a very tough decision around Valenzuela and Heineman.
Yeah, he'll eventually get up to AAA Buffalo, and once you see see him catch on back-to-back days, that's how you know he's really close to being activated. Now on the pitching side, Buffalo's also going to have some rehabbing Blue Jays starters filtering through their rotation. What's happening there?
Yeah, so it's going to be potentially a trio back-to-back-to-back of some pretty good Major League starting pitchers. Starting Thursday, Dylan Cease. Then Friday, Max Scherzer. Saturday could be Shane Bieber. So that's a pretty good trio. And Cease, to start with on Thursday, he might just need that one start, at which point he'll be in consideration to come back because he really hasn't missed that much time. Then you get to Scherzer. We'll see. They're looking for about 60 pitches from him. That could be 4 innings, maybe 5 innings, depending on how efficient he is. But he's making good progress. And then Bieber's the one who's the furthest away, where Bieber needs at least a couple starts at AAA. He's in Toronto now. And if those starts go well, then we can start talking about a Major League return. But in the meantime, it's Cease and then maybe Scherzer who are the closest to making an impact for a team that really needs it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good trio. It would be really cool if they were in a MLB rotation together. That'd be pretty good. But that's not the case right now for the Blue Jays. Currently, they have only 3 true starters and have been rolling with 2 TBDs in their 5-man rotation. The next one is due up on Thursday. How are the Blue Jays going to approach this?
Yeah, tough one with Chris Sale versus TBD on paper, but you never know in baseball. The Jays want to have someone who can find a way to pitch maybe 70 pitches. That was the plan the last time this spot came up with Austin Voth. Didn't go well, obviously, with Voth. He's since been DFA'd, so it won't be him in this upcoming turn. But they have to find a way to get some length, because the reality is for these relievers, they've just been putting so much on these guys. You look at Mason Fluharty, he is 6th in the American League in appearances, then 7th in the American League. You have 4 Blue Jays, or sorry, I shouldn't say American League, Major League Baseball. You have 4 Blue Jays tied for 7th in Hoffman, Varland, Tyler Rogers, and Braden Fisher. So that is just so much that they have put on the bullpen. They're going to have to do TBD for at least one more time, but that is not the long-term solution.
One more note, Jesus Sanchez, who had that truly bizarre incident in right field in Baltimore, is not in the lineup here tonight, but he is feeling better. Took BP early on the field, did some work in the cages, and Jamie, he will be available for the Blue Jays off the bench tonight.
Based on what Nicholson Smith just said, it looks like perhaps they'll have to utilize somebody from AAA on Thursday, but we shall see then. What we do know tonight, Kevin, is they're going to face a guy you know awfully well, given you played with this team 3 years ago, Bryce Elder. What to expect if you're in the starting 9 for the Blue Jays?
Yeah, this is a much different pitcher than the Blue Jays have had a ton of success against. Blue Jays hitters have had a ton of success against guys who have stuff. Think about the Paul Skeens of the world, the Cam Schlitters of the world. These guys typically rely on their pure stuff, meaning they're going to be around the zone. Here it is, go hit it. Bryce Elder is not that guy. Bryce Elder is a command over stuff guy. He's going to work the edges. He's going to change speeds, change locations, and he's good enough. If the Blue Jay hitters are going to chase him, he's just going to keep inching that ball further and further outside of the zone. The Blue Jays need to be very patient with him. He is going to make mistakes over the heart of the plate, but if they are going to expand outside of the strike zone, Bryce is going to continue to make them expand out of the strike zone. That's his strength. So the Blue Jays need to be very patient today, get pitches over the heart of the plate, and don't miss them.
That sounds very Greg Maddux-esque, doesn't it?
Well, he has a great mentor in Greg Maddux.
Yes, he does. And he's also your neighbor, apparently. So we shall see. How does Elder fare against the Blue Jays lineup that has dropped their last 2? As we get set for first pitch at Truist Park in Atlanta, there's Kevin Gausman in the sunshine, warming in the bullpen, ready to go. The game is on Sportsnet 1, and we're glad you're with us. Enjoy it.
You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. From Truist Park in Atlanta, the Blue Jays and the Braves open up a 3-game set to finish off the Blue Jays road trip on what's also Lou Gehrig Day around Major League Baseball. Dave's significance for both the day that he began his legendary streak, taking over starting at first base for the Yankees, and the day that he would pass away from ALS complications 16 years later. You'll see the number 4s on the jerseys all day as they spread awareness for ALS and honor the great life and career of a baseball icon in Lou Gehrig.
Yeah, you might see some red wristbands. Loved bringing awareness to this disease and has played such a big part in so many baseball players' lives and just their tribute to what he brought, Lou Gehrig did, and the legacy that he has.
Sure to be a special day around the majors for sure. The Blue Jays lineup today looks as such. No Jesus Sanchez today after that incident with the ball coming onto the field of play in Baltimore, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. right there in the middle. The Blue Jays hope for more big hits, maybe extra base hits out of Vladdy like they got in Baltimore, but it's a tough guy to do it against. Bryce Elder is really tough, today's starter for the Braves.
13th start of the season for the right-hander, 27-year-old fifth-round pick of the Braves in 2020. Last time out versus Boston was his roughest one of the season. Just 3 1/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned runs. But don't let that fool you. He has been very, very good. You take out that start, he's got less than a 2 earned run average on the season. Slider, four-seam, sinker, cutter, changeup is the arsenal for Elder. Let's take a look at the Braves defense behind him. Yastrzemski's in left, Harris the second in center field, and Acuna Jr. making his 44th start in right field. Big arm in right field, Riley, Mateo, Albies, and Matt Olson round out the infield with the veteran Sandy Leone behind the plate for Bryce Elder in game 1 of this 3-game set versus the Braves.
Blue Jays last won a series here in 2021, but as you might have seen earlier already, Blue Jays are 12-3 in their last 15 games against the Atlanta Braves. Somewhat surprising given the fact that they have been very, very good over the last 5 or 6 years, and they are just as good this year, right at the top of the majors. It'll be a tough task for John Schneider's team, as the Braves have only lost 2 series all season. Bryce Elder gets this one underway with a pitch to George Springer that's hit on the ground to the shortstop, Jorge Mateo. Longtime Oriole infielder throws it over, and there's 1 pitch, 1 out for Bryce Elder. Kevin Pillar had mentioned this pregame, Caleb. It might not be that Elder's going to blow you away with the biggest fastball or the craziest pitch you've ever seen before, but he's very effective at getting that early weak contact.
Love what he said. He said command over stuff guy, and that is exactly what epitomizes Elder in terms of how he goes about his business. He's going to try and run pitches in off the plate, and if you start to chase him, he's going to continue to expand. Blue Jays have got to have a very disciplined approach against Elder.
They got the right guy at the plate to do that. Nathan Lucas has worked himself into a 2-0 count. Balls and strikes tonight handled by crew chief Mark Wagner. Beautiful 23-degree night in Atlanta. The tarp was actually on the field about an hour and a half before first pitch, but the rain passed through quickly. The fans still filing in as Lucas hits this pitch high in the air, foul territory, third base side. And Austin Riley is there, 2 down.
And batting practice was pushed back just a little bit. One of those thunderstorms rolling through here in Atlanta. Big, heavy raindrops. Big, heavy raindrops, but it didn't last very long, and they were able to pull the tarp off. Blue Jays were able to get the rest of their bullpen set in, and it's turned out to be a very pleasant night here in Atlanta.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. batting with 2 outs in the first inning, and the first pitch is bounced towards shortstop. Mateo backhands, and that's it for the top of the first. 3 very quick outs for Bryce Elder, and the Atlanta Braves will see Kevin Gausman back at his old home yard when we come back.
Tomorrow on Sportsnet.
The Atlanta Braves, one of the toughest offenses in all of baseball to shut down. Ronald Acuna Jr. is the head of that snake. And in those last 4 games, 2 leadoff home runs for Acuna as well. So watch out for early offense as he, for the first time in his career, sees Blue Jays starter Kevin Gausman.
Back to a familiar place for Kevin Gausman. Pitched for the Braves back in 2019, went 3-7 in 16 starts. Finished that year with the Cincinnati Reds, but the last 3 for Gausman in a Blue Jays uniform have been very good. 2-0, 17 2/3 innings pitched, just 2 earned runs, 18 strikeouts, and I look for him to have a better fastball. He told me earlier in the week, when the weather starts to heat up a little bit, he starts to really feel his body loosen up and see if he can get to that 94, 95, 96 range, hover around there. That'll allow the splits to really play well underneath. But Ben, he knows how to pitch, and if he doesn't have 95, 96, he can move the ball in and out, up around the zone. So he's a wily vet. Watch him try and navigate this very difficult Braves lineup.
First pitch slider to Ronald Acuna Jr. and we're underway. Speaking of Wiley Vet, uses his third pitch that he doesn't use a whole lot to the best hitter in the Braves lineup to buckle him on the first pitch.
Why wouldn't you? Element of surprise right there.
I mean, man, that takes confidence as he gets the splitter past him. And Kevin Gausman has a lot of reason to be confident. But this guy's homered 5 times in the last 4 games, and you flip a strike with your third pitch out of 3 to start the day. Ahead of Acuna already 0-2. And he yanks a fastball there. 1 ball, or rather a splitter. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Guarantee you Acuna Jr. was not looking for that split. Definitely probably, sorry I said split, I mean slider, was definitely looking for something other than that. And that's just what Gausman brings, that intelligence, that veteran type of approach.
Brandon Valenzuela with an early ABS challenger. He thinks he has the strikeout. This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers. For now, the count is 2-2, and it will remain there.
Call confirmed. Toronto has 1 challenge remaining.
So the Blue Jays down to 1 challenge here in the first inning.
Yeah, risky move to call that the first batter of the game, but you also know it's Acuna Jr. and how dangerous he's been. Trying to get away with a strikeout, first AB.
He has not shown Acuna a fastball yet. Pardon me, he just did. He's thrown him 1 fastball on that challenge pitch of his 5 pitches so far. 3-2, and he walked him. Acuna stays disciplined, and he's on to start the day.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Blue Jays behind Kevin Gausman here at Atlanta. Out in the outfield, left to right, Nathan Lucas. Dalton Varsho with that gold glove he has right there. Yohendrick Pinango back in the lineup after a huge home run in Baltimore. The usual suspects around the infield, Okamoto, Jimenez, Clement Guerrero Jr., and Valenzuela back behind the plate. Just really taking the lion's share of playing time with Alejandro Kirk being out.
Michael Harris is the batter for the Braves. The center fielder takes low, ball 1. You've been a young catcher. You came up and there was an established guy there. This has got to be a lot, and he's handled it quite well for someone to come up and in their first taste of the big leagues have to catch around 2 out of every 3 games.
Yeah, it does a lot to your mental and physical psyche, especially when you're not used to it. The Major League game is just so different. And getting accustomed to the pace, I think that was the biggest thing, was getting used to how quick the game moves and being able to think as quickly as possible. You add the element of the pitch clock in there as well, and he's really started to settle in. You can tell that the game is slowing down for Valenzuela.
Important pitch there for Gausman to get back in the zone with a fastball. Now they got to make sure that the ball stays in the infield. You always got to have an eye on Ronald Acuna Jr. Well, usually when the ball's headed in the opposite direction. But Acuna, the runner on first, he swiped 70 bags a while ago, and that's Gausman saying to the young catcher that he wasn't looking.
Just lost it a little bit. There are a couple little shadows behind Gausman. Might be a couple ray of sun kind of bursting through the stands here.
Michael Harris is having a real nice rebound of a season. Broke out in his first year and then kind of slowly lost production since then until this year when he's exploded again. Only 25 years old. He faces a 2-2, and it's another full count for Gausman here to start this outing for him. He's had to throw a lot of pitches to Acuna and Harris.
This is what a good lineup is going to do. It's going to kind of tighten your lanes and tighten your zones up a little bit. You're going to be very careful, very cautious. Try not to miss over the middle of the plate. Trying to hit your corners with all your pitches.
Acuna off on the pitch, and Harris hits it well. Center field going back. Varsho, and it's past him up against the fence. Acuna gets the wave around third, and he will score an RBI double for Michael Harris II, and the Braves lead before an out's been recorded in the bottom of the first.
Well, Gausman tries to go back with the 4-seam fastball, and it just catches too much plate. Watch the jump from Varsho. It's a pretty decent jump. Looks like he might have a beat on it. You see Acuna Jr. hanging out right on the other side of second base. If that ball's caught, he can go back and retouch second base, go back to first base. Good base running there, but just out of the reach of Varsho.
So 1-0 Braves as Matt Olson comes up. It's a tough thing about the Braves. They already have a run on you, and arguably now their best hitters coming to the plate. I said earlier that Acuna is the head of the snake. He has been recently, but you could argue easily that throughout the year, this has been their best hitter.
So dangerous, 16 home runs, 45 RBIs on the season.
And he's going to ask for an ABS challenge as well.
Pitch is called a strike. The hitter is challenging.
So real close pitch near the bottom rail of that strike zone. For now it's 0-2, but that's going to overturn to 1-1. That's a good challenge by Olson. Braves still have 2 left.
Been a while since we've seen challenges in the first inning.
Both teams. Blue Jays lost 1, Braves just won 1. Swing and a miss. Good splitter. 1-2.
Olson's got that very unique stance where the hands are kind of hanging out over the plate. It's almost like he tries to bait you into going in there. You see a lot of room in there. But he's very quick on the inner half. If you can speed him up on the inner half, then the split fingers typically work underneath. Very unique visual for a catcher as well. See those hands hanging right over the plate. Way away from his body. And he'll kind of pull him back in underneath his left side of his body. Very dangerous hitter, though. You got a really hard mix against a guy like Matt Olson. Can't stay in one spot with one speed, or he will make that adjustment.
3-time All-Star in the middle of an 8-year deal with the Braves, playing for his hometown team. And he'll hit one on the ground up the middle. A long run there for Andres Gimenez to get to it and get the out. Michael Harris to third.
Really good split finger from Gausman down in the zone, gets Olson reaching. You like to see that north-south action from Gausman, and this is where the wily veteran can really show his experience on the mound. You're probably going to try and sneak out or look for some sort of strikeout right here with the infield drawn in.
It'll be Ozzie Albies in that wide open stance. So when you're looking to strike at a guy like Ozzie Albies, where do you go?
Well, he's a tough guy to strike out because he can get hits outside of the zone, 19 of them. Very long bat, very good hand-eye coordination. I like to rush him up and in, try and get him feeling velocity, and then short pitches, just short of the plate. On the plate, but short was a spot I like to go.
Infield drawn in. There are a couple bases open. And Albies launches one right center field. Piñango and Varsho converging. Harris tagging at third. And that is plenty deep enough to bring in Harris's sac fly for Ozzie Albies. And it's 2-0 Braves. Gausman went in the zone there with a fastball, maybe falling behind 2-0. He just wanted to nip that in the bud.
Yep, at 20 pitches already here in the first inning. Runner at third, you're behind in the count. They need length out of Gausman, even considering they had a day off yesterday. This bullpen has been heavily taxed, and they need length from their 3 starters.
2 down, and Dominic Smith to the plate. You're talking about unique hand placement in your stance. Dom Smith, another guy, turns his bat toward the field of play, holds it off his body, a veteran. Former teammate of yours. You mentioned with the fatigue, though, the Blue Jays just coming off 17-17. They went 10-7, but they operated in a lot of that stretch with 3 starting pitchers. That's hard to do when you have regular off days, let alone when you don't. Check swing. Did Smith go? He did on the appeal down to Jacob Metz. And that will do it for the bottom of the first inning. The Braves get a pair big double from Michael Harris, scores one, and then he comes in to score after 2-0 Atlanta.
Who gets you?
So I hammer the rudder and we go perpendicular.
Mark that a win.
That's nothing. I took the heavy dog at plus money. They went vertical out of the gate. Then they got outmaneuvered. Blew the lead.
Tower, we got a loser on our sides.
Negative Tower, his win is a go. With Bet365's early payout, I won the second they went up big.
Get paid out early with Bet365.
Bryce Elder might not be a household name in every major league city right now, but he is working his way to becoming that really, really good last couple of months for him if you go back to the end of last season as well. And the Braves have gotten a ton of quality innings every time he's been on the mound.
Got power in Yamamoto, power in Sanchez, and just kind of crafty with Elder. When you mix that with the 14-year veteran Sandy Leon behind the plate and you add command to that conversation, you can be very efficient. Get a lot of early outs, a lot of weak contact. You constantly stay ahead of your opposition.
Dalton Varsho will lead it off here for the Blue Jays. Varsho, Clement, Pinango this inning. Elder maybe wasn't going to be in this rotation to start the year. At least it was going to be a discussion, but kind of like the Blue Jays, they ran into a lot of early health issues with the starting staff. Sandy Leon playing the pop-up into foul territory. He makes the catch, had to range a long way there relative to catcher pop-ups, and there's one out. But for the Braves, Spencer Schwellenbach certainly you would have penciled in there. And I think a lot of people around the Braves would have expected at least one of A.J. Smith-Shawver or Hurston Waldrep to pitch in their rotation to start the year as well. All those guys are injured. Walt Weiss's club has to turn to some other guys, and all of a sudden Elder's as effective as anyone you have. To that point, Reynaldo Lopez used to be a starter for them. He's in their bullpen right now. Elder's still in the rotation.
What looked to be possibly a weakness as the Braves got into their season has seemed to quickly turn into a bit of a strength for them.
They are a bit of a pitching factory. It feels like each and every year there's a new hot young starter for them. 3-pitch strikeout right there. Buries Clement with a breaking ball. First K of the day for Elder.
Talked about going in the zone and then continuing to expand, and this is exactly what it does. Go underneath with a breaking ball and then goes even further down. We talk about climbing the ladder with the fastballs. He just goes in reverse with these breaking balls. Primarily four-seam slider, change-up cutter to lefties, and sinker slider to right-handers. You got to pick a side of the plate.
Pinango hits the ball through the right side, and that's the first Blue Jays base runner of the day. Slider hammered into the dirt, rolls through, and it's a 2-out hit.
He's continued to find barrels. That's what I love about Pinango as the playing time is crunched with the arrival of Nathan Lucas off of the IL. He just finds ways to go barrel after barrel, middle down, doesn't try and do too much, just meets it, scoots it right through that 4-hole.
He'll take his lead with Cosmo Okamoto at the plate. Pinango in there, Sanchez not today. Sanchez hit with that baseball coming from the crowd in Baltimore. John Schneider said he's probably available. They just figured they'd give him a day. Anytime you're going to come out of a game, they want to be careful. And Sandy Leon is going to challenge right here. Probably a good idea on that pitch.
Pitch is called a ball. The catcher is challenging.
For now, it's 1-1, but it should flip to 0-2. That's just really good location there for Bryce Elder.
Yeah, sometimes when you're set up a little more on the inner half of the plate and you got to reach over as a catcher, that can at times fool the umpire that's in the slot. Good challenge by Leon right there. Probably see a steady diet of breaking balls to Okamoto. Might try and run some two-seamers in on the inner half. Get him thinking in there, but keep away.
It's back-to-back sliders. Okamoto with some big moments recently. You go back, you look at his last 8 games, 6 RBIs, 4 extra base hits in that span. Still, the strikeouts are high, 11 strikeouts in those 8 games, but production mixed in there.
You're just kind of getting back to that right center field type of approach. A lot of teams are now pitching him more in the outer lane, and so giving up the inner lane for that batter 2 might help, might work, and ball does tend to fly here to right center field at Truist Park. A little bit of a breeze out there to right center field, and we've seen when he gets the barrel, it doesn't matter what park he's playing in. He's got power to all fields, and there's not a stadium in the big leagues that can hold him down.
Working a pretty good plate appearance here after falling behind 0-2. He's fouled off a couple. He's taken 3 pitches out of the zone, and he's seen 7 pitches overall. With a full count and 2 outs, Piñango will get a head start off first as well. Payoff pitch. And this one is hit high in deep right field. Acuna back at the track, turns at the wall. It's gone. Okamoto's got a date at the Chop House, and it's 2-2 in the top of the second.
Wow, it's almost on cue. The breeze out to right field, kind of setting his sights towards right center field. We just told you there's not a ballpark that can hold him down. He takes this 3-2 sinker, is able to stay inside of it and just get it up into the jet stream here at Truist Park. What a swing, good battle, not giving in on some of those breaking balls, and that's a ball we've seen him try to pull at times, but he goes with it, and he's rewarded heavily for it.
Got to be a huge boost for that dugout too. And Kevin Gausman, you give up 2 in the first inning to the Braves, and then you punch right back, and now Jimenez strokes it well, deep center. Harris going back, reaches up and makes the grab to end the inning. But some big swings late in that top of the second, including the 2-out, 2-run homer for Kazuma Okamoto, his 13th of the year, and the Blue Jays have tied it at 2, middle of the second.
Estimating the Blue Jays have the most difficult remaining strength of schedule, and one thing that would help them rise to this challenge is the return of some of their injured starters, and they are getting close to that. Later this week in Buffalo, there's going to be quite a trio of veteran starters going for the Buffalo Bisons, as Dylan Cease is scheduled to pitch on Thursday, followed by Max Scherzer on Saturday, and likely Shane Bieber on Sunday. Now, Cease is here in Atlanta right now. He threw a bullpen today, then did some change of direction running drills. If he comes out of all that feeling fine, he'll pitch for Buffalo Thursday. That could be a one and done for Cease, with his next one coming in the majors.
That would be so huge for the Blue Jays, obviously, as Dylan Cease gets to be back close to home here with the Blue Jays in Atlanta. But Caleb, I mean, all those guys would be hugely important. Cease was essentially an automatic win, or really good chance for them to win, when he's been pitching this year. Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer, and Shane Bieber, if they don't have him last year, who knows if they end up winning their division, making it all the way to the World Series.
Sure, and they've just got to get relief for these bullpen arms. It's hard to survive with 4 starters, much less 3, the way that they're having to mix and match. And it just has so many ripple down effects for those guys in the bullpen. To get even one of those 3 guys back, much less 2, would be a huge pickup for the Blue Jays. And Scherzer talked to us before the game. He seems to be feeling really good with where he's at. Mentally, he's right there. He had that kind of staring look into your eye, Ben, when you were asking him questions.
He was staring like that at everyone as Kevin Gausman punches out Austin Riley, and there's one down. He looked like he had just come off the hill from a start.
And you could just tell. You could tell that he is engaged, and when he has that look in his eye, it's like, oh, we're ready to go. And that's when I start to feel hopeful, I guess, so to speak, that he's pretty close.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order the Subway app using code STRIKEOUT. There's a line drive base hit for Mike Yastrzemski, who takes off for second base with that liner in the gap, and the veteran Yastrzemski is on with a 1-out double.
Well, Mike Yastrzemski, he's always on the fastball, ready to go. 102 off the bat. Not a fastball he hasn't liked. Gausman trying to get ahead early. He's trying to stay in zone. Yastrzemski just finds that gap out in right center field.
Yastrzemski joining the Braves in free agency this year, and boy, has that turned out to be an important signing. Pitch to Jorge Mateo, another important signing, but more on that in a sec. And it's 0-1. When the Braves got Yastrzemski, they didn't know Jurickson Profar was going to be suspended. All of a sudden, he's become a near everyday player for them. If they don't have him, who knows what they might be doing in the corner outfield opposite Acuna.
So solid out there in the outfield, 35 years old, 7 years with San Francisco. Finished last year with Kansas City in a bit of a playoff run for Walt Weiss. It's kind of like a Nathan Lucas type. You just know what you're going to get from him. Not going to hurt you on defense. Going to give you a good quality professional at bat.
All right, Mike, the grandson of Carl Yastrzemski, the Hall of Famer. Pretty cool. He walked off the Red Sox a couple weeks ago at this ballpark. He grew up in Massachusetts as well. 1-2 pitch, wave and a miss, strike 3 as a couple of former Orioles tangle, and Gausman punches out Mateo.
I love that fastball at the top of the zone, finally getting a little bit more velo, 95 on that pitch, and it gets closer to the top of the zone. That's where he loves to induce a lot of swing and miss, especially when you've taken their eyes down below underneath. Changes the eye level. Mateo nodding. Good sign for Kevin.
Sandy Leon is the hitter. 2 outs and still Yastrzemski on second base. Leon, a veteran, back in the big leagues for his 14th season. 14 years, including his 2018 World Series title with the Red Sox. He hits this ball high in the air, middle of the infield, and Andres Gimenez wants it. And he's got it to end the bottom of the second inning. A 1-out double from Yastrzemski, but nothing more as Gausman settles it down to keep it 2-2. On Wednesday, June 10th, the first 15,000 fans into the Rogers Center will receive a Dylan Cease bobblehead. Elite pitching deserves a spot on your shelf, so make sure this bobblehead is part of your lineup. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Now that bobblehead has a mustache. Will Dylan Cease have the same mustache on that day? That's TBD. We don't know. I asked him. He's not even sure at this point.
He might have one. I don't know if it's going to have the size that that bobblehead has. He had grown it out pretty thick and then let it go. Young Blue Jays fans scattered here at Truist Park. Blue Jays fans, they travel, Ben. They just really travel well. You can always feel their presence in the road cities and out here to support their team.
Brandon Valenzuela will lead it off for the Blue Jays, as they don't play here in the ballpark, but in the city where they captured their first World Series title. First pitch to Valenzuela is called to strike. 25-year-old catcher was not alive when the Blue Jays won that World Series, but he is a big part of the team now. Interesting, as a switch hitter, he's hit a lot more from the right side so far, produced a lot more than the left side, which is the opposite of how a lot of switch hitters are. Although the production's been solid enough either way.
I'd say traditionally from the right side you see more power from switch hitters, but I like the swing. I like the plate discipline he's continuing to show with every at-bat. Really settling in on defense, but offensively too. It's been impressive to watch. 279, 3 homers and 8 runs batted in his last 25, and it's the quality of the plate appearance that I'm seeing. Not chasing at a pitch just like that. That when he first got to the big leagues, it would have been 1, 2, 3 and done, and guarantee you those 2 hitting coaches right there, Lou Iannotti and David Popkins, are pleased with his maturation. Continue to get 1% better every day, and he's showing that he's starting to settle in terms of his approach and ability to execute.
Check swing, and he did go, says Mark Wegner. Tag applied by Leon, 1 out. Second strikeout for Bryce Elder so far.
North-south breaking balls, especially with 2 strikes on the plate. We call those decision pitches. That ball bounces right behind the plate. Such a difficult pitch to recognize because you see it on the plate. You gotta judge height really quickly.
Second time through the order now for Bryce Elder. Just gave up the 2 hits, but a single and then a 2-run homer in the second tied up the game. Now Springer, who grounded out on the first pitch in the first, will bat for the second time. Fifth season with the Braves for Elder, a 5th rounder in 2020 out of the University of Texas. That was the shortened draft, so he was actually 5 picks from being unselected entirely. But the Braves took a chance on him, and it has worked out in a big way. The 2-1. And he gets Springer to offer that time, sticking with the slider after Springer had laid off it last pitch. 2-2.
Yeah, probably one of those pitches George was looking on the inner half, looking for maybe a sinker. Very smart hitter. He knows how to box pitchers like this in.
And he got him on the slider. Back-to-back Ks for Bryce Elder, both on that breaking ball.
It's a tight slider, and especially when you can run pitches on the inner half that have some run towards the hands of the right-handed hitters, you can get some front hip flying like that. You see George release early. That's him thinking when he reads it out of the hand, it's a sinker on the inner half. Once it gets about halfway there, he realizes it's moving the other way with less speed.
Nathan Lucas takes a pitch called a strike. Might have been a hair outside, but the Blue Jays only have 1 challenge remaining after they lost one in the first. Nate told me today he's still maybe mentally not feeling 100% with the hamstring. I mean, he's gone out and played well and produced, but he said he needs a play that forces him to kind of just go all out regardless, because he's still thinking a little bit when he's running, based on the fact he tried to return as fast as possible. As you can see, it's not hurting his numbers, but mentally he's still trying to get that hamstring fully stretched out.
Got to have that one play where you've got to really get out of the batter's box as fast as you can. You know that if you take 1% off in terms of velocity and you're running, you're not going to make it. It's got to be that full throttle for a good 180 feet to really test that hamstring.
Grounds the ball to first base. This won't be that play as Matt Olson grabs it, goes to the bag, and ends a 1-2-3. Top of the third. Still 2-2. Blue Jays and Braves at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Our coverage of the NBA Finals begins on Friday with Game 2 as the New York Knicks take on the San Antonio Spurs. A matchup between Wemby and the West's best, and a Knicks team chasing its first championship since 1973. Don't miss it Friday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. Kevin Gausman back out on the hill for the Blue Jays. Had a much better second inning after giving up 2 in the first, but he'll face the top of the order again. Valenzuela seemed to ponder that one. Another one that's close.
Oof.
But Valenzuela tried to challenge in the first step out of the game against Acuna. Missed it. That really handcuffs you towards challenging again. Slider hit on the ground to shortstop. Jimenez on it, and the throw to first in time, and the fortitude, the confidence, whatever you want to call it, the wily veteranness, as you said, of Gausman. He's thrown 2 sliders to Acuna today. It's his 3rd pitch out of 3.
Yeah, I love it. And it's got good break, it's got good location, and especially coming off of a fastball in. Valenzuela really set up more down the middle, but look at that location. Perfectly down and away. Perfect chase pitch. 1-0 count for Acuna, and he's probably thinking, let it fly to the pull side. Doesn't want to show him maybe a split or a fastball in that count. Goes to his 3rd pitch, and so far it's working. That's why I love watching these veteran guys, because once you think you've got them figured out, they do something backwards.
I have to imagine, though, as pitcher and catcher, if you make a call like that and it doesn't work out, does it take a little bit to get over it?
Oh yeah.
Because
oh, yeah.
you're not going to your A pitch.
No, but you talk about it before the game, and so it's a little bit preset. If we get in this count, if we like the feeling of it during the bullpen session, and sometimes it could be somebody like Valenzuela going back there saying, hey, it looks pretty good today. And so sometimes you got to deal with what you've got and what you're seeing. Sometimes a pitch shows up in the bullpen that looks really sharp, and you might want to think about incorporating that more.
Fastball is golfed to shallow center. Andres Jimenez will call for it, and there are 2 outs. Mentioned earlier, Kevin Gausman pitching in this ballpark before as a Brave, traded over when he left the Orioles, the first team he left after the team that had drafted him. He went to the Atlanta Braves in a trade at the 18 deadline, ended up starting a playoff game for the Braves. And then pitching into next year, although that was when he ran into some of the bigger struggles of his career. Went to the bullpen, went to the Reds, and then turned it around in San Francisco, and the rest is history.
I vividly remember seeing him in the bullpen in Cincinnati when I was with Arizona, and we kind of both looked at each other and we thought it might be the end of the road for him. He just was really struggling to figure things out, and boy, did he ever figure it out.
Pretty good fastball right there. Valenzuela acknowledges that, even if it just missed in. 1-1. You had said last time Olsen was up, maybe establish inside and then go down and away with a splitter. There's the splitter, but a good take by Olsen.
And he's such a smart hitter. A lot of times those veteran hitters, if you don't get it in there for a strike or you don't get a swing in there, they will know that's just for show, and they'll sit soft on the outer half again. Close fastball down in the zone for Gausman. He's had better fastball command the last inning and a half. I guarantee you, Pete Walker's going, where is that pitch?
3-1. Swing and a miss. Another gutsy pitch. Throws it below the zone on 3-1 and gets back to a full count. Payoff pitch is a fair ball down the left field line, off the short retaining wall. Olsen bursting for second base, and the throw in there from Lucas is late. It's a 2-out double, beating the shift by Matt Olsen.
Well, I love the pitch call, trying to go trapdoor fastball down and away, and what I mean by that is probably looking up in the middle part of the zone with the fastball. Look at the set up by Valenzuela, trying to go sneak attack fastball down and away, just leaves it right over the middle. Watch how late Olsen lets this ball get into the zone. If he was down and away, I can almost guarantee you that induces a swing and miss, but good pass on a mistake by Gausman.
All 3 hits so far for the Braves have been doubles, and now Ozzie Albies sends one back foul, and Brandon Valenzuela, something in his eye, he'll need a second. It's 0-1.
There are certain plates that just have a little bit more, we call it turfus underneath, kind of cushioning underneath the clay, and sometimes when you get foul balls that are close to you, it spits up some of that turfus right in the eye. Chalk, a little bit of chalk. Looks like it flies right into the eye. You all right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, that turfus is also what they use if it gets too wet down there, right?
Yep.
That's the rain-soaking dirt that they put on.
Watered underneath, turfus on the top. Keep it moist underneath, nice and soft for your feet, but dry on the surface.
0-2 is hit hard and through into left center field, and a quick wave given to Matt Olsen, who will score on the single by Ozzie Albies to give the Braves the lead again, 3-2.
Yeah, well, we mentioned it in the first at bat, 19 hits outside the zone, 5th in the big leagues. Look at where that pitch is. Guarantee you that's not in the zone, trying to go underneath. With a split finger, it's not a bad pitch, but Albies just throws his hands at that ball, is able to find a hole.
That's more than a full baseball below the zone, maybe even a baseball and a half. It's now to Dom Smith, is stroked foul to the left. Albies up to 31 RBIs. He's driven in 2 today for the Braves.
Now, you just hate that too when you make a quality pitch. You feel like you've got that hitter on the ropes. 0-2 especially. Then they find grass.
Kevin Gausman above 50 pitches, trying to get out of this bottom of the third. A 1-1 to Dom Smith is a tapper foul. Smith has really found something here in his 10th major league season. Had a couple big years with the Mets, a 11th overall pick by the Mets in 2013, but didn't have steady production, bounced around a bit. Nationals, Red Sox, Reds, Giants, some time at AAA as well. And he enters today with a mid-800s OPS hitting in the 320s.
Yeah, the ability's always been there for Dom Smith, just trying to put it together for a full season and then replicating that. Talked to Pete Alonso last series with the Orioles. He told me he didn't feel really comfortable being the guy at first base until Dom Smith left. That's how much he thought about his talent and abilities there in New York.
And Smith hits this one in the air, left center. Varsho calling for it. That'll do it for the bottom of the third. Back-to-back 2-out hits for the Atlanta Braves to take the lead. Olsen double and then an Albies RBI single of his career. What do you think needs to change, or what do you think you've seen changing as he has started to produce more near the end of May into June?
Yeah, saw some good things in that Baltimore series. Just direction. When he hits the ball to the middle of the field and uses that right center gap and is able to power that ball to right center gap, that tells me his approach is in a good spot and his execution is in a good spot. It's all about being on time and hitting in the perfect spot in terms of his stance, getting barrel to baseball. And when he's able to use that big part of the field, that tells me he's looking out there. He's in a good spot in terms of his contact point because he's getting that ball elevated. Then when they do come in, he naturally elevates it like he did versus Cano in that big hit versus the Orioles. But a lot of moving parts. I like that take. Like, that take right there is fine. If he's looking right center field, if he tries to go on that, he's going to jam himself. It's all about discipline and ability to execute with Guerrero Jr.
Grounded out on a first pitch sinker in the first. He's 0 for 1. He does have some experience against Bryce Elder. Saw Elder in 2023 when he faced the Blue Jays, and he doubled and walked off of him in 3 plate appearances. It's a pretty good take right there as well. Two ball, 1 strike count. Bryce Elder to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And the pitch is lifted out toward very shallow right field. Matt Olson makes the catch. 1 out. The Blue Jays trying to win their first series here in Atlanta since 2021. Funny enough, due to the mixed up schedule kind of in 2020 and 21, they played the Braves twice in 2021. They swept them both times, which would not foreshadow at all because the Braves went on to win the World Series that year. The Blue Jays missed the playoffs by 1 game, although they did have a better record than the Braves. Dalton Varsho with a missile, and it's going to go foul. 0-1.
Do you remember coming here as a Toronto Blue Jay in 20? Cardboard cutouts, no fans, the music and crowd noise pumped in. Weird year.
Three Blue Jays starters in that series were Matt Shoemaker, Hyunjin Ryu, and Nate Pearson.
Major League debut, I believe.
Yeah.
I remember him being very amped up for that start. A lot of hype and anticipation for Pearson. Just a youngster. Don't think it went too well, though.
Next pitch to Varsho, grounded foul.
Remember him throwing a lot of sliders in that game.
Pardon me, that was his second start, Nate Pearson. He debuted at Washington, which did go quite well. Then he gave up a couple of runs at Atlanta.
Never trust the backup catcher with stats. Lots of foul balls to the face.
Dalton Varsho happy he didn't have to do that at the big league level. Former catcher now in the outfield for the majority of his career. And a good take there from Varsho. It's interesting, he's morphed his approach offensively. Some of it maybe on purpose, some of it maybe because of the way he's been pitched. More contact, more on base, a little less power, although Elder gets him there swinging. 2 down.
Hit a grand slam with your next project and head to your local Home Hardware. With over 1,000 locations across Canada, Home Hardware is locally owned, genuinely Canadian.
2 outs in the top of the 4th inning, and outside of the 2-out single and then subsequent 2-run homer by Kazuma Okamoto, Bryce Elder has not allowed a base runner to the Blue Jays. Just those 2-out base runners in the 2nd inning. 50th pitch of his start is hit on the ground, up the middle, and into center field. That is called using the broadcaster jinx for good, as Ernie Clement gets on with 2 down.
Yeah, comes into the series hitting an even 369th hit of the season, tied for the AL lead coming into this game. Some guys just have a knack for finding the barrel just out of the reach of Mateo. You can see he is livid that he wasn't able to grab that. Not sure he would have been able to hop to his feet and get Ernie anyways. Good swing by Clement.
Pinyango had the single that started the 2-run 2nd inning. He'll take high ball 1.
See if he can play with a little bit of loft out front. 2-0, 2 outs. Catch something to the pull side.
When you say loft out front, for those who have not hit at a high level, what are you looking for from Pinyango?
The way that his swing works, it's a little bit more of a downward action than a uppercut. And so for his contact point to be moved out front, that's where the loft is going to be. He hits so many line drives because his contact point is closer to the body and his swing works more down. So as that swing starts to level off and then catch it on the upswing, the ball placement is more out in front. So loft out in front.
Big swing there on the 3-1, a cutter upstairs. It's 3-2.
And he misses that ball because it's a little bit too deep in the zone. If he catches that ball about 2 or 3 more inches out front, he hits the back right center field.
Clement will be off on this pitch from first base. No hold from Olsen, who plays right behind the runner. Blue Jays looking to get a 2-out rally started. Pinyango just continuing to produce, make cases that he should be in the lineup more, be around more, hitting over 350 now off of right-handed pitching. He swings and lofts this pitch. Foul to the left, out of play. Pardon me, hitting over 320 now on right-handed pitching, but still very strong. It's just tough because he and everyone else that he's competing with is A, hot, in terms of Sanchez and Lucas, both of them swinging a hot bat, and B, they're all left-handed, predominantly corner outfielders. Pinyango with a scorcher down in center field. Clement stops at second, and there's another hard hit off the bat of Pinyango. 2 on with 2 outs.
It's just the quality of at bat that has impressed me so much from Pinyango. He sees the cutter, he sees the changeup, he sees the fastball. He's able to find a way to working at bat to get a ball in the middle of the zone. You see that very short, quick contact point right towards the front knee of him. That's what induces that direction right back up the middle. Doesn't try too hard, continues to pass the baton for Okamoto, who's already gone yard in this game.
Might have jammed him a little. Looked like it stung the left hand of Pinyango. But he's got the hit, and like you said, Okamoto, who had a 2-out, 2-run homer, will take low ball 1. He went up over the high wall in right field, a 364-foot blast the opposite way. And this one is lifted out to right field. Cunha took a second to search for it, but he'll make the grab to end the inning. Blue Jays get a pair of 2-out hits, but do not score, and in the opener in Atlanta, they still trail 3-2.
Jays on Wednesday. He's going to DH initially and then mix in some catching from there. Kirk cleared his final rehab hurdles by catching a live BP and hitting against live pitching in Dunedin last week. And, you know, he's been catching regularly for a while now. Kirk's fully up to speed in that department. The big thing will be regaining comfort in the batter's box. John Schneider estimated Kirk will likely need around 20 plate appearances or so to do that. Kirk will start with 2 or 3 games with Dunedin, then his rehab will shift to Buffalo, and once he's caught on back-to-back days, you'll know his return is imminent, and you'll also know the Blue Jays will have a very interesting decision to make with regards to which catcher exits the roster to make room.
100%. The one thing we know for certain is that's a big boost to the Toronto Blue Jays, who have not had Kirk since the opener of the 3rd series of the season. He has been out since April 3rd. So having him back, I mean, it helps all phases of the game, Kayla, both your pitching and your offense. Osman's 1-0 to Austin Riley is inside 2-0.
Yeah, talking to John Schneider today about that. They're weighing everything as it pertains to when Kirk back, kind of who stays, who goes, the workload for Kirk. Will he be able to come back and catch 4 or 5 times a week? That might play in the decision. Overall performance, he said, absolutely plays. Current performance, and then kind of goes backwards a little bit in saying that depth has to be taken into consideration. Remember, Heineman does not have any options left, so that if they want to keep Valenzuela, they have to expose Tyler Heineman to options could be picked up by another team. Catching is so thin throughout the big leagues, and so Blue Jays have got a bit of a conundrum on their hands as to who they want. Valenzuela's been taking quite a bit of the lion's share of time, has been producing, but sometimes having options works against you.
3-1 pitch lifted out to right field. Twisting toward his left shoulder, Pinyango makes the grab. It was a late adjustment and a bit of a circuitous route, but Yohendrick Pinyango makes the play. Maybe Varsho helped him out as he gives a club point out to his center fielder. There's 1 out.
Yeah, the center fielder Varsho is going to be telling him, you got room, you got room, you got room. The breeze is flying out towards right field for Pinyango. He's going back, and look at that left hand. He's trying to feel for the wall right there. He's also feeling the crunch of the warning track under his cleats. Typically have about 3 or 4 steps on that warning track before you start to hit the wall. Good team play right there. What looked like a very harmless F9 almost turned into an adventure. He's checking the wind. That's a high IQ play right there, making sure he's aware of his surroundings for the next one.
It's Mike Yastrzemski who laced the ball into the right center field gap his last time for a double. Just to return to the catchers, you mentioned depth at the end there. And the Blue Jays' depth has been tested, not just at the major league level, but they've had injuries in their system as well. They've moved to acquire a couple different catchers. One of them is Willie McIver, who's had a little time in the big leagues. He's at AAA Buffalo right now. Picked up a guy named Adam Hackenberg, who's at AA for them. So they are definitely tested right now, not just at the major league level, but the whole organization depth-wise.
It's such a unique position in that it takes time to get to know certain pitchers, time to get to know the routines of those pitchers, all of their ins and outs, that it's sometimes not as easy as just taking the best player available. You got to think about all these different scenarios. How is your depth impacted? How is this player going to hold up over the course of 162. Does a certain player need everyday at-bats to continue his maturation? It's not as easy as, well, one player's hitting 260, one player's hitting 180, send that guy down. There's a lot that goes into it, which is what really intrigues me about this scenario, because you have history and you have some feel-good story, obviously, with Heineman and history, and then you've got a little new toy in the toolbox with Valenzuela.
Strikeout there for Gausman, his 4th, as he blows away Yastrzemski with a fastball, and there are 2 down.
A good fastball by Gausman, seems to really be starting to feel that pitch, see that location really lock in for him the last 2 innings or so, really trying to work the inner lane on some of these Braves hitters to open up some other spots.
Jorge Mateo to the plate. Swing and a miss. Mateo red hot right now for the Braves. It's part of their piecemeal shortstop situation to a certain extent, but he has hits in his last 5, RBIs in his last 4 games, and homers in each of his last 2. He'll hit one foul to the right and get in an 0-2 hole. They started the year with a lot of Mauricio Dubon because Ha-Sung Kim was injured to begin the season. Kim came back, has played a little bit, but right now the hottest bat that plays shortstop is Jorge Mateo. And although maybe it's surprising in some ways because he hadn't produced a ton offensively previously in his big league career, this was the Yankees' top prospect in 2016, a higher ranked prospect than Aaron Judge. Swing and a miss, though. Gausman gets him on another good slider tonight. And that will do it for the bottom of the 4th. Back-to-back Ks for Gausman, who completes his first 1-2-3 frame of the game. But the Blue Jays still trail 3-2 going to the 5th. Celebrate a Blue Jays legend with the Roy Halladay replica retro jersey giveaway. On Monday, June 8th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a retro Halladay jersey honoring one of the greatest pitchers in franchise history. Buy your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Blue Jays in Atlanta at Truist Park, trailing the Braves 3-2 in what's been a tightly contested game. Top of the 5th inning about to start. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Caleb Joseph. Arden Swelling is down on the field. Appreciate you joining us tonight. It'll be Andres Jimenez, then Brandon Valenzuela, and George Springer for the Blue Jays in this top of the 5th. Blue Jays with 2 runs in the first 4 innings. They've averaged about 1.5 runs in the first 4 innings this year, which is bottom in the American League. So this is a slight improvement. Getting a little more early offense and hanging around. I mean, as good as Kevin Gausman is, Bryce Elder is also really good. Hanging around might be the key here to try and swipe a game or 2 from the Braves in this series.
Yeah, they're very familiar with playing in 1-run games.
Strike 3 is a foul tip there on a 4-seamer. Gets Elder his 4th strikeout, or 5th rather, of the start.
Gonna try and convert off of Elder as he goes upstairs. With that 4-seam, you can see that real late pass from Jimenez, probably looking a little bit soft in a way as they were playing keep away that entire at bat. Sneak attack with the fastball up.
Brandon Valenzuela, first pitch swinging, grounds 1 to second base. Ozzie Aldiz to first. 2 outs. So Elder about to go 3rd time through the order. He got through the first 2 on 65 pitches. has not walked to batter. And it's really just that one long ball. Other than that, 3 singles, and 2 of them were on the ground.
It just shows that last outing versus Boston, where he gave up 9 hits, was a bit of an outlier. He's been really solid. You take that outing away where he gave up 6 runs versus Boston, less than a 2 earned run average, and you can see why. Reminds me a little bit of Masahiro Tanaka in that the stuff doesn't jump off the page, but always well located, tunnels very well. And it just shows you if you have good command and you've got pitches that work against each other in terms of a sinker running one way, a slider running the other way, and you can throw them in that same lane that appear to be the same pitch for a long time, that can present a lot of problems and challenges. You get a lot of weak contact early in at-bats, which helps with efficiency. Keeps your infielders and outfielders engaged.
.66 Ks to 22 walks so far this year for Elder. His 3-1 is a foul ball on the ground. Full count. Even when he got hit hard, quote unquote, against the Red Sox, they didn't have a single extra base hit against him in the last start. Just strung together a lot of singles to their credit. 3-2. Is hit foul to the right. And that was part of why Walt Weiss expressed still a ton of confidence in Elder before today's game. He said he had felt that Elder was a little bit nickeled and dimed, in his words, in that, you know, if there wasn't any that's hard contact, they still weren't all that worried. Challenge fastball right there, still full count.
I think the modern term for that, Ben, is BABIP'd.
BABIP'd, right.
Batting average, balls in play.
It's misused occasionally, in my opinion. Sometimes pitcher will say he's BABIP'd when a defensive player on his own team doesn't make a play. Springer there going to the seat of his pants, which is actually not too unfamiliar for a guy who swings as hard as him. Still 3-2.
Yeah, there are games when Springer's backside of his uniform is more dirty than the front side, just loses his footing. He will try and let loose. Seems like at least once in that bat where he'll really try and go yard, usually going down to a knee, but if that weight kind of swivels too far in one direction, he can topple over.
Was a hanging slider, so you get it. Here's the 9th pitch to Springer. And he hits that one. Diving stop at third by Riley, and the toss to first in time for a nice play to end the top of the 5th. Blue Jays hanging tight but trailing 3-2 middle of the 5th. Time now for an update. Here is Jamie Campbell. Summer baseball is heating up at Rogers Center. June 8th through the 10th, the Philadelphia Phillies come to Toronto for a must-see series. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/tickets. And Caleb, that's Don Mattingly's Philadelphia Phillies, who after a tough start to the year have surged into second place in the National League East, trailing only the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, they're playing hot baseball right now. Sometimes when your stars finally decide to be stars again, you can really start to take off, but dangerous club there in Philly. Lots of postseason experience as well.
Speaking of lots of experience, Sandy Leon's going to try and bunt against the shift, and he bunts through it. 0-1. Well, that was not on the bingo card tonight.
Nope. Take your shot. Okamoto playing deep in that kind of 6-hole. Leon, the savvy veteran, trying to lay one down and leg one out.
About a month and a half ago, the odds that Sandy Leon was going to be in this game were very low. He was back in the Braves system. He spent parts of each of the last 3 years in the Braves system, a little time with them last year. And he foul tips one into the glove, strike 3. But he had requested his release. He had an opportunity to go play professionally in Mexico. Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves said, sure, let him go. 10 games later, injuries to the Braves catchers. Sean Murphy came back from injury, got hurt almost immediately, and Drake Baldwin went to the injured list as well. And they called up Leon. He left Saltillo, his team in Mexico, and came back to the big leagues this time, to the Braves organization.
Quite the story going from AAA down to Mexico. Oh, hey, we need you back in the big leagues. Come on back up. Thrilled to be back in the big leagues, guarantee you Leon is.
And if it doesn't work out, then they could probably go back to Mexico after
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
They were just getting to know him.
That was fairly recently, too, 3-4 weeks ago. But he knows the system, knows those pitchers, and that's so valuable. Kind of what we were talking about with Valenzuela and Heineman. Love how Gausman's really trying to crowd Acuna Jr. here. That's a veteran pitcher knowing that Acuna likes to get extended. Well known for power to both sides of the field. Got to crowd him to open up kind of the outer half. Gotten him on a couple sliders in this game. He's thrown more than expected, typically around 8% this year. Considerably more sliders in this start, and they've had sharp downward action.
His 3-1 to Acuna is swung on and missed. Not the spot they looked like they were trying to go to, but the fastball up and in. Crowded him whether they wanted to or not.
If there's a spot, it's right here. It's up with velocity. That has been the one spot that Acuna Jr. has been vulnerable in the last several days.
And he swings and misses at another fastball high and tight, strike 3.
And I think this is by design. I think you throw him other pitches earlier in the at-bat so that when you see him 2 and 3 and 4 times down the line, possibly, you can use that up middle with velocity type of pitch. Kind of playing chess out there, thinking if I can save it until the latter part of the game, be used as a sneak attack.
One hopper to short. Nice pick by Andres Jimenez, who will twirl and toss to first to get Michael Harris the second and the side. Kevin Gausman has retired 7 straight and struck out 7, but the Blue Jays still trail, headed to the 6th. Are you a Rogers customer? It's Canada's winning inning. This inning, when the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win big with Rogers Beyond the Sea. I think you like to see that guy in your winning inning if possible. Lucas Guerrero Varsho are the hitters for the Blue Jays here. They trail it 3-2 going to the 6th. Beautiful night in Atlanta. Fun atmosphere at Truist Park. They just delivered us some burgers as well. Really appreciate from the staff here at Truist Park. It's a burger with fries and tater tots inside of it.
I'll be taking the next half inning off, Ben. You got it, bud.
1-1 pitch, bit of a hanger there. He gets away with it, 1-2.
One of the few pitches kind of middle Elders had. Big swing from Lucas, probably trying to go yard. Just misses underneath. Love that about Lucas too, trying to drop that right foot, right knee in there. Potential hit by pitch on those breaking balls moving down and in. He just finds a way to give you one of those good pro at bats. Now's the time. Elder at 79 pitches, 3rd time through the lineup. See if you can get the leadoff guy on and get something going.
Hit hard up the middle into center field. Base hit for Lucas.
This is where 27, Ben, for me, has got to kind of come up big. Just hit the ball in the barrel. Your 3rd time seeing Elder, you've got a feel for your pitches, for his pitches rather. You've got a feel for kind of how he's trying to work you. Don't be in a rush. Get really patient in one pitch in one zone until you get to 2. See if 27 can find the barrel, put one in the gap, and kind of flip the script on this game.
They're playing him about straight up in the outfield. Close to straight up in the infield as well. Slight shift to the pull in the infield. Slight shift to the opposite field in the outfield. And he smokes one on a line deep left field toward the fence. It's down and bouncing up against the wall. Lucas meets a stop sign at third. Into second jogs Guerrero. It's a double, and the Blue Jays are in business in the 6th.
We saw a very similar swing from Guerrero Jr. in that Baltimore series versus Cano. Is able to get underneath a pitch breaking down and into him. This is the changeup from Elder. Look at the location right down on that lower inner third rail, and he's able to get under it. Such a big swing for Guerrero Jr. We've seen so often that those balls can end up low into the left side of the infield, inducing a double play. The ability to stay on that changeup probably tells me he was sitting a little bit softer and get barrel to baseball. If he's thinking sinker right there, he's out and around it early. And now before you know it, Blue Jays are threatening with runners at second and third.
It's the first time in the game they've had multiple runners in scoring position. Jeremy Hefner, the pitching coach, is talking to Bryce Elder. Vladdy has done his job setting up the Blue Jays with 2 in scoring position. Now it's on to Dalton Varsho here. And the Braves are going to play the middle infield back. So if you're Varsho, at a minimum, if you can get a ground ball past the mound up the middle, it's a good chance you're going to score Nathan Lucas.
It's so vital here to get that runner, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., over to third, no matter what. Sometimes as a left-handed hitter, you can think so hard to the pull side. Staying right back up the middle is a good approach as well. As you know, Elder's probably going to try and play keep away, knowing Varsho likes to pull the baseball. He's short and quick on the inner lane. Wouldn't be surprised with backdoor breaking balls, change-ups away, which when you shift that movement to the center of the field, you can end up doing some good things.
Backdoor slider, grounded foul to the first base side. 2-1. Dylan Dodd maybe heating up for Pinango, a couple batters away, or perhaps Jimenez further down in the order. First action in either bullpen tonight. Blue Jays are out hitting the Braves 6-4. Braves with a couple of early runs in the first inning and one more in the third, still have the game's lead. And now Varsho hits one in the air, shallow left field. Yastrzemski makes the grab. Lucas is going to test him, and the throw bounces in wide and a little bit late. Sac fly for Dalton Varsho. Vladdy's got to stay at second, but the Blue Jays have tied the game.
Well, it's not to the right side, but it's deep enough to get Lucas in from third base. Good throw from Yastrzemski out there in left field. It's just offline. Trying to go up and in with a cutter. He's able to stay inside it long enough. Look at Lucas. He's getting that read himself. He's going to have to head first dive in here. If that ball was on line, there might have been action at home. Good job by Varsho, really fighting that pitch off and getting it in the air. Very easy pitch to pop up to third base or shortstop, but he muscles it out to left field.
Blue Jays now looking for their first lead tonight, but Ernie Clement rolls over on the first pitch, and there are 2 outs as Riley makes the play across the diamond. Pinango set to come up for the Blue Jays. He's got a couple of hits off Elder in this game. Dylan Dodd, the lefty, is throwing in the bullpen. But Wald Weiss is going to stick with his starter here and see if he can get him through 6.
This could be the game right here, Ben. Braves bullpen's done really, really well. One of their stronger parts of their team.
Pinango in the air, right center, playable for Harris. And that does it for the top of the 6th. Blue Jays do tie the game, but leave the go-ahead run in scoring position. 3-3, middle of the 6th. It's baseball's 6th annual Lou Gehrig Day, celebrating June 2nd, the day that he took over for the Yankees and started his legendary streak of games played, and commemorating the day that he passed from ALS complications 16 years later. A Hall of Famer, one of the game's all-time great players, specifically one of the game's all-time great run producers. 5 different times he led Major League Baseball in RBIs, had some outlandish types of seasons, and obviously this has been turned into awareness and supporting a good cause as well. There are multiple different ways you can support. One interesting one I thought, MLB.com/Lou Gehrig Day auction. Sarah Langs, Major League Baseball reporter battling ALS, handpicked 30 different players. They're signing bats. Those are being auctioned. MLBtogether.com/4ALS, and then ALS.ca, more Canada specific. The Blue Jays will have their ALS Awareness Day on June 9th, and June across Canada is ALS Awareness Month. By the way, speaking of the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig, who's got the longest consecutive games played streak before Cal Ripken, Matt Olson is the active leader right now. 842 games prior to today, so 843. It was in 2021 last time he missed a game.
Posting every single day, whether that's at first base or designated hitter. That seems like a lot of games, and still not even remotely close to 2,000 plus games for Cal Ripken.
This one hit well. Deep right field. Piñango is back. He'll turn, and it's gone. A looping home run that just snuck over the wall in right field for Olson. His 17th, and the Braves snatch the lead right back.
Pitching coaches talk so often about shutdown innings after your team scores. It's a hanging slider from Gausman. He's had pretty good command of that pitch with good darting downward action, but this is a hanger to Olson. Gives him the lead.
First pitch to Ozzie Albies, who's down and in ball 1. The Braves have done a good job of responding quickly. That was very quick, but even when the Blue Jays made it 2-2, they scored an inning later to take a 3-2 lead again. Second batter in a row. Gausman falls behind 2-0. And he just misses with a four-seam fastball. 3 balls, no strikes.
17th homer of the year for Olson. 46th RBI of the year. Didn't even look like he got it. Looked like it was a little bit off the sweet spot, but the breeze is starting to really pick up here at Truist Park. Piñango was back, but just kept carrying to right field.
And that's going to be ball 4. There's a bit of confusion with the count, but Albies down to first base. Matt Olson really golfed this home run.
Yeah, check out the look on his face. See that look? He doesn't think he got it. He thought he missed that. And he hit it hard. 109 off the bat, but he probably thought the launch was too high. But I think that wind here at Truist Park just blew it right over the fence or wall, whatever you want to call it.
Swing and a miss by Dom Smith. Kevin Gausman looking to get back in this inning after the home run and 4-pitch walk. Blue Jays thinking about their next moves with Braden Fisher loosening up. Yeah, 49-degree launch angle does not result in a home run very often. But also, most guys can't hit it that high and still get it 355 feet. That is a home run at about half the ballparks in Major League Baseball. He's just a very big, strong guy, Matt Olson. He's done something easily that's probably not very easy. He's replaced Freddie Freeman in Atlanta and mostly has not missed a beat. Roll over to first base. Vladdy will go to the bag and get Smithers. On to second goes Albies.
And Freeman, drafted by the Braves, came up. Huge franchise icon, obviously leaving for the Dodgers. Would be like trying to replace that guy right there in Toronto, and Olsen has just stepped right in and found a way to almost allow the Braves fans to not forget about Freeman, but just ease the pain of that loss and departure.
It was right after the Braves won the World Series. One out, Austin Riley up. Longtime Brave hits it foul, 0-1. Riley is a staple of this team, but he's trying to get back to the production that he had a couple years ago. Still just 29 years old. In his mid-20s, it looked like he might be an MVP contender on an annual basis. So one pitch in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike.
A 10-year, $212 million contract signed in August of 2022 for Riley. Really struggled against right-handed pitching this year, especially on breaking balls, and I think that's been his kryptonite. That's why you're seeing some sliders from Gausman. Those numbers are not very good. 158 versus the breaking ball this year.
On the ground, up the middle, Ernie Clement with a long throw in time. It was hit softly enough that Albies could take off for third base, and they're now 2 down.
Which is a little bit scary for this Braves lineup with Acuna Jr. Harris is having a great season. Riley's not really doing much. They've bit of a breakout season from Dom Smith, but and you start to get Riley going. That's a very deep lineup, 7 deep potentially for the Braves.
Even as of a week ago, you could argue Acuna wasn't going, and then he just exploded. Mike Yastrzemski swings and misses 0-1, but they were the best team in baseball. Obviously getting offense from Matt Olson, but getting offense from Mike Yastrzemski and Mauricio Dubon and
Mateo.
Almost anyone that put on a Braves uniform figured out a way to help out.
What do you think Acuna's doing right there?
Comparing the stitching on the baseballs, I think. Although wouldn't they be pretty uniform?
It's unique.
Now I don't know what he's doing for sure. Oh, 2. Hit foul. Or maybe he's holding up those 2 baseballs so it looks like they're blocking out the hitter and the umpire. So he like moves the ball down. There. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not guessing anything. There's Vlad, and Vlad goes away.
I mean, he's really going to town with these things. But when you hit 5 homers in 4 days, I guess you can do whatever you want.
Baseball's his friend right now. Pretty good pitch there by Gausman, by the way. Probably a pitch that you'd like to challenge, but a reminder, if you weren't with us earlier, Blue Jays lost a challenge in the first inning. And so they're unlikely to use one unless they really, really, really believe it until probably the 8th or 9th. 1-2. Yastrzemski swings and misses, strike 3. It's 8 Ks for Gausman, but the Braves take the lead back on a Matt Olson solo home run. It's the Braves 4 and the Blue Jays 3 in Atlanta.
Well, how does a guy without elite stuff compete at the big league level the way that Elder does? A lot of it has to do with tunneling. And what exactly is tunneling? Tunneling is making certain pitches appear the exact same right out of the hand and then take off in totally different directions. We talk about curveballs popping out of pitchers' hands. That's not the case for Elder. He's able to keep these pitches looking very, very similar until about halfway there when they start to disperse and confuse opposing hitters.
Well, and the average hitter has somewhere around 3.5, 4/10 of a second, maybe a little over 4, to react to a pitch. If even a 1/10 of that, the ball looks the same. I mean, that's got to feel like it's 10 miles an hour harder.
It is. It is very, very difficult. And you'd rather take guys with huge stuff and different dispersions out of their hand than a guy like Elder that kind of hovers in that 91, 93 mile per hour range with the fastballs and backs down to 83, 84 with the slider. You'd take 98 with bigger movements where you could see it as Okamoto draws leadoff walk. That's what makes these guys so difficult. You add command to that and they can just be nightmares at the plate because you look up and you're going, man, this is good hitting. This looks good hitting. He's in the zone. before you know it, you're taking your 0 for 4, walking back to the dugout.
Former Padre closer, now with the Braves, Robert Suarez is getting loose. First pitch strike to Andres Jimenez. Bryce Elder did throw fewer than 60 pitches, or less than 60 pitches in his last start. And so maybe he gets a little more license here to keep working. Maybe it's Suarez for the top of the order. Who knows? Jimenez on the ground to first, foul, 1-2. I think at least both of us didn't feel like it was a guarantee that Bryce Elder was going to be back out here for the 7th.
Yeah, I think Walt Weiss just knows his pitcher, knows his club. Braves have kind of traditionally been more of a eye test type of organization, so to speak. Brian Snitker was the boss bench for Braves for a long time. Used the eye test quite a bit.
Check swing, appeal to third, no swing, says Jacob Metz. And right there, riding sidecar with him, 2018 to 25, was Walt Weiss, bench coach for Budzinski in all that time, or for Brian Snitker in that time.
And there he is.
Still catches his Braves games. You think he's still thinking through it?
No, he's checked out. He's thinking about the ice cream cone.
2-2 is hit on the ground to second. Albee spins and offers to second for one. That's the only out they'll get. Fielder's choice. Ground out. Andres Jimenez on first.
It's another reason too. Elder can put the ball on the ground, and when you've got that ability, it's always tempting as a manager to leave your guy in there. You always feel like he's one pitch away from rolling a twin bill. Tony Mansolino to his right there was the interim manager for the Baltimore Orioles before they went in a different direction. Latched on here as bench coach for Walt Weiss in Atlanta.
Did a pretty good job. They won more games than they lost with Tony Mansolino. Going to get a challenge here initiated by Sandy Leon. Probably good reason.
Pitch is called a ball. The catcher is challenging.
Seemed like that slider might have made its way back toward the strike zone. And it did. So Leon's going to flip it from 1-0 to 0-1, and that might be a bigger difference than it seems, Caleb. Just one pitch.
Oh, it's huge. OPS swing from that one pitch right there is about 400 points. 0-1 to 1-0. You go right into aggressive mode as a hitter, especially with a runner at first base, left-handed hitter. You're thinking, get out in front. You go down 0-1. Now you're a little more defensive. He's got that back into an even count.
Check on Andres Jimenez, understandable. He's the team's leading base stealer with 6 on the year. Interesting trying to test Leon, who at one time definitely really good with run control, but you don't know as much about him now. He just hasn't thrown as much in the big leagues. 2-1 as he thought Jimenez might be going there.
Yeah, 3 for 13 so far this season. Saw him come out of his crouch right there. Maybe thought Jimenez was going to go.
Oh, that one got back into the feet of Brandon Valenzuela off the backstop. Worked like a backboard there. He played it with his feet, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, it is something unique to Truist Park. Brick behind the catcher there. So you can see it will just carry him right back in.
Oh, he did it on purpose. Never mind. He kind of threw his left foot out. World Cup's coming.
It is coming.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 as Valenzuela goes down, 2 outs. /90-mile-an-hour sinker there to strike out Elder, who's gone 3 times through the order exactly. And that looks to be the last pitch he'll throw. Walt Weiss out to take the baseball. Top of the order coming up for the Blue Jays. And looks like Robert Suarez coming in for the Braves. Tying run on first. Stick with us on Sportsnet 1. The Sportsnet Plus City TV Plus bundle brings you big moment playoff games, the Blue Jays, and must-watch series from HGTV, Food Network, Bravo, and more. Visit sportsnetplus.ca to bundle today. Latter stages of this game, nighttime in Atlanta, Georgia, and the first pitching change for either side as right-handed reliever Robert Suarez, who, as you can see, has been dominant this year, enters the game. 2 outs and a runner on first.
Four-seam changeup, cutter, sinker for the 35-year-old righty.
Tying run on first in the form of Andres Jimenez. He's off on the first pitch. Springer will back out, and the throw is not in time. Jimenez safe with a stolen base. Bang, bang play, though, and Albies with kind of a half point says, maybe we think about that one. See if they take a look.
Pretty good throw by Leon. And I kind of love that sneak attack. When you get a reliever in, you're down by 1, you got a base stealer at first base.
Pitch is called a ball. The catcher is challenging.
So it doesn't look like they're going to challenge at second, but this is also a worthwhile challenge for Leon. I don't know how he can tell the level it is when he's popping up, but he was right. That was in the strike zone.
Strike.
That's probably one of the easiest pitches to miss. That pitch up in the zone when you're trying to throw a runner out. A lot of times you will box out the umpire.
Blue Jays will take that trade-off, though. Tying run in scoring position, and the 0-1 is swatted at foul. 0-2.
I love that stolen base right on the first pitch from Suarez. A lot of times that pitcher coming in from the bullpen, he's got his assignment. He's really hard focused on the hitter. Good time to sneak a base.
Up and into Springer, ball and 2 strikes. This is not a comfortable matchup if you're George Springer. The 35-year-old righty Robert Suarez sits around 99 on his fastball. Throws a changeup, a lot of cutter as well. Swing and a miss, struck him out on the change. And he strands the tying run in scoring position. Blue Jays get him in as the second, can't punch him in, and at the 7th inning stretch, trail 4-3. Come join us on Tuesday, June 9th for Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Bring your friends, bring your appetite, and take a run to beat the season high record. Grab your tickets at bluejays.com/tickets and come hungry. Braden Fisher into the game now for the Blue Jays. He'll take over in the 7th inning, trying to keep it a 1-run game here against 8-9-1. Faces Jorge Mateo in the pitch. Slider low.
Yeah, 31st game for Fisher. Last time out, earned the save. The 29th at Baltimore. Last 7 have been really solid for Fisher. 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, only 2 hits. No earned runs. He's been a workhorse for John Schneider down there under the circumstances, considering he's been kind of fluctuated all over the place in terms of his usage, and he's responded well. Variation of those breaking balls, the deception he brings. Just doesn't seem like very many hitters are comfortable when facing Braden Fisher.
Bunt attempt on 2-0, and it's fouled back. Don't see that every day, a 2-0 bunt.
No, and a lot of times it's indicative of how you saw the first 2 pitches. You can see he's typically flying towards that first base dugout, arms kind of going back the opposite way, and sometimes you just know. I don't see it well from this guy.
Broken bat grounder. Going to be a tight play, and Okamoto gets there in time, avoiding all of that debris headed in his direction. Fisher just blew up Mateo with a fastball in off the plate. And that was probably a little trickier than it looked.
You see so many right-handed hitters not comfortable with that fastball running, arm side run. Really good focus by Okamoto there as the barrel of the bat flying towards him in the same direction of the baseball. So easy to take your eye off the actual ball and focus on that multi-piece fracture coming your way.
Fisher to Sandy Leon, and a miss with a curveball. Variations of the breaker. You mentioned curveball, then the slider, and you could even argue then the cutter almost, although he doesn't throw it as much. Works off of the slider a little bit. Near miss with a four-seamer there. 2-0. Some lefties near that top to middle of the order coming up for the Braves. 9-hitter Leone up now, so southpaw Mason Fluharty up. And a 2-0 chase there from Sandy Leone, 2-1. A 2-0 bunt and a 2-0 chase. The Braves have helped out Fisher a little bit so far. That's on the ground to second. 2 outs. So Fisher in after 6 innings today from Kevin Gausman, who had some ups and downs throughout his start. What did you think of the effort overall?
Well, he got ambushed right out of the start of this game. Leadoff walk to Acuna Jr. and then a double for Harris the second. But I thought he maneuvered, he bent, but he didn't break. Gave his club a chance to win. I think he really wants that leadoff homer back from Olson, where Olson got him for a slider. But he did well, really kind of limiting the damage. Not just what Kevin Gausman does these days. Even when he doesn't have perfect pinpoint command or perfect control, or maybe not 98 in the tank, he can find ways to maneuver around even really good lineups.
And it was important, regardless of runs allowed, that he went 6 innings after giving up those 2 runs in the first, throwing over 20 pitches. They cannot afford to have short starts really at all, especially if it's Kevin Gausman.
It's a really good point. Getting into the 6th and through the 6th was huge. Bullpen heavily taxed in that 4-game series versus the Orioles. The bullpen day coming in this series as well.
Moving the feet there of Acuna is Fisher, who misses down and in with a curveball. 2-2.
It's really hard to do too, knowing that it's almost expected that you're going to have to go 6 or more, considering the state of this starting pitching. It's a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. He continues to find ways to do that too. He can give up a couple hits here and there, and look, it wasn't his best outing, but I guarantee you Pete Walker and John Schneider, they're good with it because he got to the length and they've still got a shot in this ball game.
Payoff pitch is hit away, foul to the right. Ronald Acuna had that walk in the first and scored. Since then, a ground out to short and a strikeout swinging. One of the 8 for Gausman today. 3-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. A 1-2-3 inning for Braden Fisher, but the Blue Jays still trail 4-3 after 7. Let's go over to Jamie Campbell and former Blue Jay and Brave Kevin Pillar. Domer, the beloved Skydome mascot, is coming home with you in the form of a Domer hat giveaway. On Wednesday, June 24th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a vintage-inspired cap featuring Domer the Turtle. Buy your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Maybe one former and one future Domer fan right there as the Blue Jays take on the Braves here in Atlanta. Blue Jays still trailing 4-3 as we go to the top of the 8th inning. And it's still Robert Suarez. He'll offer to Nathan Lucas. A called strike on a first pitch heater. Suarez brought over in free agency after closing for the Padres the last couple years. And while he's not closing right now because the Braves brought back Raisel Iglesias on a 1-year deal, he did get some saves when Iglesias is certain. He's probably their closer right after this year going forward. 0-2 is hit on the left side and through a base hit. Second knock for Nathan Lucas, and the Blue Jays have the tying run on in the 8th.
Well, he extended his career-high 8-game hit streak into 9 games in the 6th with a single, and just goes down and goes to the opposite field to start off this 8th inning frame. Never shies away from going with the pitch, and what do you know, 27's up again with a chance to flip the script.
Last time he doubled to the wall in left field. And this time he hits a sharp grounder to short. This could be 2. Mateo to second, and on to first goes Albies for a 6-4-3 double play. Hit it hard, but to the worst spot you could have hit it to.
That's just too bad. 107 off the bat. If it's a step or two to the left or to the right of Mateo, it's into the outfield, possibly allowing Lucas to get all the way to third. He's on time, he's ready, just a little bit of top spin. Right at Mateo.
So 2 quick outs now in this top of the 8th. And Varsho swings and misses at a changeup. By the way, on Suarez, it's a 3-year deal. So if he pitches behind Iglesias, quote unquote, this year, he could still have 2 more years after that. It's pretty rare you see a guy who led the National League in saves be willing to take on a role like that. But now he forms arguably the scariest 1-2 punch in the game.
Saw that sort of combination 8, 9, 10 years ago in Kansas City with Kelvin Herrera, with Wade Davis, a couple others, forming kind of a 3 or 4 closer type. Greg Holland was in there.
Yep.
Any 3 of those guys could have left and been closers on different teams, and to have closing experience pitching in the 7th and 8th, good problem to have.
Pitch low, Leon doesn't think so. And might have been more of an awkward receive than a miss there. Sandy Leon has already gotten one right today. If he gets this one right, we're going to the bottom of the 8th. And he does. So after the leadoff single, ground ball double play and a strikeout looking, Suarez ends up facing the minimum, and we go to the middle of the 8th. Braves 4, Blue Jays 3 at Truist Park in Atlanta. Blue Jays fans have won over $100 million through 50-50 jackpots, and now you can be next. Jays Care's 50 seasons jackpot is over $1.1 million and projected to hit $2.5 million. If you're in Alberta, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, or Ontario, visit bluejays.com/5050 to join in now. Southpaw Mason Fluharty on for this bottom of the 8th inning. Cutter sweeper most often for the lefty, but Caleb, a couple more changeups for him in Baltimore in his last couple outings.
Yeah, I've been really liking that pitch from him. Working that in, especially to right-handed batters. We know the variations of the breaking balls are kind of where his go-to spot is against lefties. Last time out in Baltimore, 3 strikeouts. He was absolutely dominant, very efficient. Probably his best outing of the season, in my opinion. Went down there and talked to him today. I said, hey, looked like you threw a handful of changeups in there. And he said, yeah, I've really been trying to get the location down. He said, I actually had Cease come up to me and tell me you should really think about throwing it up and in to right-handed hitters. He said, what? Throw it up and in? And he said, you're an idiot. I'm not going to throw a changeup up and in. I'm trying to go down and away. Sure enough, said he went back out in his catch play. He kind of used the sight lines of up and in. Said the changeup came out perfect. It was on line. It was right where he needed to be. He said he had to go back in and say, yeah, sorry about that, man. You knew what you're talking about.
Michael Harris, deep drive, right field, foul. Well, the interesting thing is, so a changeup you'd never, in theory, throw up and in. A sinker you'd often throw up and in.
Absolutely.
Fluharty's it's a bit of a tweener. It's thrown with a changeup grip, but it's almost got sinker velocity. This one is lined out to right center field, charging Varsho to make the grab. 1 out. Is it that velocity, or what is it about that pitch that can allow him to throw a changeup where everyone outside of Marco Estrada probably would?
Yeah, I just think it's something moving away from right-handed hitters. You just know you're going to feature something coming into right-handed hitters, and anything to take them away from that. He told me, he said, look, when I faced Ward, I threw him that changeup on the outer half, and when he didn't even budge, I knew he was looking in, so I just stood out there with the changeup, and it allows protection for those pitches that are going to be moving inside to right-handed hitters. I'm anxious to see the development of that pitch. If at some point he's able to throw a left-on-left changeup, if it gets to that point, then he's really taken off. But when you have that pitch right there, left on left, and you continually baffle left-handed hitters, as Iglesias is up in the Braves bullpen, it is devastating. And you don't want to get beat by your third pitch, especially left on left. But he told me, he said, I found it funny that Cease was telling me where to throw the changeup, and he doesn't even like his changeup. But it worked out. And he was locating it with better action where he wanted to. So teammates helping teammates, left-handed pitchers helping right-handed pitchers, vice versa. It's always a team effort down there with those pitchers.
Ronald Acuna Jr. just doing more things in the dugout. He's having an active time down there.
What color would you call those cleats? Mint?
Oh, I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy. 2-2 pitch, outside, ball 3. I'm colorblind, so you got me beat pretty badly. Green, I wasn't even 100% sure on, let alone mint.
Yep. They're neon green. A little sliding pad. His whole left side is just covered in that color.
Olsen high in the air to left. And Lucas angles over. 2 outs.
Get game-changing internet and Canada's most reliable internet. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
So 2 outs for Mason Fluharty. This is not an easy assignment. Harris and Olsen. And Pete Walker's going to go out there before he faces Albies. It's not like this is a pinch hitter. This would have been scheduled. What do you think the meeting is about?
Well, Albies, especially right-handed, he loves stuff wrinkling into that down and in spot. And so maybe they're talking about the changeup away. He's pretty vulnerable with that pitch, left on right. Albies obviously the switch hitter. And let me tell you, folks, he carries a very large piece of lumber. I remember facing him as a catcher, and he had made a swing and dropped his bat, and I grabbed the bat to throw it back into the dugout and looked at the bottom, and it was 35 inches and 33 ounces. For his size, that is a very mixed-matched type of scenario. Typically, guys will use 33 inches at his size, but he does not swing the bat terribly quick, but he uses the mass of and the weight of that bat to really power his swing. And as you can tell, he is on top of the plate. That really open stance. Not even sure that back foot is legally in the box. I mean, he is right there on the corner. Baits you to throw it in there, but you got to keep away from him.
And he's had a real nice day. All 3 of his plate appearances have been productive. Sac fly in the first, single to drive in a run in the third, and then a walk in the 6th. And he hits this one through the right side into right field. On for a 3rd time.
Just such good hand-eye coordination. He's going to go with this pitch. Right on the outside corner. Steps towards third base, but swings towards right field. Very difficult, guys, to know which way you're trying to go. Usually when you step that way, you're thinking pull side, but let that ball travel.
New hitter in for the Braves, Mauricio Dubon will bat in the spot of Dom Smith. And as Dubon is announced into the game, John Schneider is going to make a move as well. Blue Jays trailing the Braves 4-3 with Connor Siebold about to enter for Toronto. We'll take a quick step aside. Stick with us. Blue Jays baseball continues at Truist Park. Third outing in a Blue Jay uniform for Connor Siebold, who enters here trying to get the last out of the 8th inning with a runner on first.
Yeah, gave up the game-winning hit to Pete Alonso in Game 3 of that Orioles series, but just a day earlier, 1 2/3 of solid work for the Blue Jays. 11 strikes, 18 pitches total, struck out 1. Good relief work for John Schneider and the Blue Jays.
He'll face Dubon, who just came off the Braves bench to hit for Dominic Smith. And the first pitch is crushed on a line, but that'll hook foul. 0-1. His first pitch slider from Siebold, who's a little more four-seam changeup to righties, but we'll mix that slider in as well. And every once in a while, a cut or two. Pardon me, four-seam slider to righties, more change to lefties for Siebold. Another slider, that one a good one. And he did go around, so both Valenzuela and Mark Wegner, 0-2.
Dubon's a free swinger. You don't have to throw him a strike, especially when you're in an 0-2 count. Look to expand right here.
Grounder right side, and Clement over to first. We go to the 9th inning. Blue Jays trailing by a run, and due up third for them is Kazuma Okamoto, who homered earlier. We'll see if they have a big swing when we come back. Back at Truist Park in Atlanta, Raisel Iglesias, the closer for the Braves, takes over here in a one-run game.
Let's see if the Blue Jays can get that leadoff man on and start to create some traffic. Iglesias has been really tough. You see the whip under 1, 10 of 10 save opportunities. He's been perfect in that department. 10.7 K per 9. He comes in with big stuff. ERA just over 1. Tough customer in the 9th.
He'll start with Ernie Clement, who will start with a line drive to right field. And the Blue Jays have the tying run on here in the 9th. You don't see Ernie go the other way all that often, but he finds a way to get it through there.
Yep, just up there ready to hit. Gets a fastball that's leaking back over the middle of the plate. Probably doesn't fully barrel this, but that bat just goes right through the zone, perfectly on plane, gives himself a lot of barrel to use with good direction.
Yohendrick Pinango to the plate. He's been a big part of the Blue Jays offense today. Couple hits and a run scored. Throw over to first, and Ernie Clement dives back in. But you got a rookie in Pinango, and you have a pitcher in Iglesias who's in his 12th season, 36-year-old from Cuba, over 250 career saves. And a second check on Ernie Clement, who's back in safe, standing up. That's 2 disengagements. Depends on how risky you want to get, but unlikely Iglesias checks on you again if you want to get a little bit wider if you're Ernie Clement. Foul back, it's 0-2. Clement has 2 stolen bases on the season in 2 tries.
Kind of like leaving that hole open on the right side for Pinango, especially with 2 strikes out in front. Something soft, leave that hole open there.
Iglesias sticks with a fastball at 95, and it's fouled back, but he's got that changeup. He'll throw a lot to left-handed hitters.
That's the pitch you kind of want to defend against as a left-handed hitter. Very easy pitch to roll over.
Changeup swung on and missed, strike 3. And there's 1 out. Better than a ground ball that could have been a double play, but Iglesias now with a good pitch could get that ground ball double play to end the game.
He's just got great sell on that pitch. Very late action, 88. It's a little bit harder of a changeup, but his tempo and the way that he comes set and then gets up and down so quickly.
Okamoto with a liner, and that'll get down in left field. Clement to second. The Blue Jays have the tying run in scoring position with the go-ahead run on base.
It's really been the separator in this game is the Braves have just found a way to get one extra hit in terms of the opportunities that have been presented as Okamoto jumps on this pitch, ready to hit. Created some traffic. Speed at first now.
Straw takes over at first. He's the go-ahead run. Good speed on second as well with Ernie Clement. Blue Jays are out hitting the Braves 9-6, but the Braves have twice as many extra base hits. Here's Andres Jimenez. He made his major league debut at this park. Fond memories here. Can he make some new ones here in the ninth? He swings and fouls back a changeup, 1-1. Such a quick pace. He's bordering always, or towing that line between not fully setting Iglesias, but it's just all over you when you're up there.
And I've found that change-up guys, they do that on purpose. They want to feel like they're rushing you to really sell that change-up.
Change-up, tap back, foul.
You have that really quick tempoed release. It's really easy to be fooled on that change-up.
Rogers and Varland, maybe, just guessing, maybe it's tie game. You take Rogers, you have the lead, you take Varland out of that pen, but Blue Jays are hoping to have that opportunity. Foul in and out of the glove of Leon. That's a big break for the Blue Jays. That changeup looked to put away Andres Jimenez. There's Jesus Sanchez on deck to hit in the spot that would be Brandon Valenzuela's, should he get the chance. Fly ball, shallow left center field with Mateo camped under it. The infield fly rule is in effect, and there are two down. Blue Jays down to their last opportunity in this ball game. They do have the tying run on second and the go-ahead run on first base. And Jesus Sanchez is in to hit. Prior to that freak accident that knocked him out of the game in Baltimore, he has been one of Toronto's hottest hitters recently.
Good to see him back in game action. That ball thrown from a fan hit him in his right kind of wrist area. Had to come out of the game. Was unsure if he was going to be okay. X-rays were negative, and now he's in a position to really tie this baseball game. And I'd love his adjustability in this swing to recognize changeup, maybe even be a little bit fooled, but stay through the ball. Give himself a chance to get something out into that outfield grass, score the tying run.
Ernie Clement, the tying run on second, Miles Straw on first, and the first pitch is outside, ball one. Two big misses from Iglesias. He'll go to the dirt of the mound to try and get more grip. Now a hitter's count for Jesus Sanchez off the bench. And he swings and pops one up. Riley calls for it. And the Braves win the opener of the series. They cling to a 4-3 lead, a tight battle all the way through. But the big swing by Matt Olson in the sixth ends up being the difference.
Yeah, it was a hanging slider to Olson. Probably didn't think he got it. Probably the pitch that Gausman wants back, as that ends up being the deciding factor in a game that was back and forth, and this Braves team is really tough. They just played a clean game. They had a great start from Elder. The bullpen came in, no mishaps on defense, very opportunistic on offense. Blue Jays hung right in there. They were one swing away from tilting this in the Blue Jays' direction. Gosman bent, but he didn't break. 8 Ks in 6 innings, but that one swing from Olsen was the dagger.
Braves win this one. Blue Jays drop a 3rd game in a row. They'll be back against Atlanta same time, same place tomorrow. Patrick Corbin against Grant Holmes. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Time for Sportsnet Central, presented by KFC. Here's Ken and Ivanka.